Morning, Mulweni. This is truly a great opportunity presented to everyone who's attending this webinar. We intend running this project over 9 consecutive weeks in conjunction with Coach Sadiq Davids from Not Out Private Coaching. So what we intend to do with this webinar is over the next 9 weeks, we're going to present 9 modules of masterclass cricket coaching online presented by Coach Sadiq. We are going to be covering various aspects, both physical and mental aspects of the game, how to become the ultimate sportsman, batting, bowling, fielding, the basics of cricket. It's going to be delivered in a very interesting way, and I encourage you to invite your family, friends, anyone who's involved with cricket, be it young or old, to log into these sessions. It's going to be truly beneficial, even as a parent who isn't active, but you support your kids. Encourage everyone to join. This is a free opportunity. Between Primrose and Coach Sadiq goes back years. Coach Sadiq is very experienced. He's got provincial accolades behind his name. He's been a stalwart of Primrose Cricket Club for many years. More than likely see him busy in the nets, fervently working with the kids, with professional athletes at our facilities. The passion that he presents and demonstrates when working with the kids, it's second to none. His passion for the game, his passion for development of the youth. So without further ado, I hand over to Coach Sadiq. Thank you, sir.
Thanks to everybody that's on the panel. I just want to say thanks again to everyone that has been working behind the scenes for making this possible. That's to the junior executive and Exco that has made this possible, for advertising and allowing us to have these webinars. And like I said, it's basically just, for, things that we used to do outside physically. I've been just, I opened up my blind eye. It's such a beautiful day. And it's unfortunate, that we can't go to the nets like we used to. And Mikael has mentioned that, it's tough times. We all know what the pandemic has done in terms of, across the world, basically. And, we have to adapt and change in terms of what's in front of us and going and moving forward. So, there's a lot of changes, but like Noor said, that we're resilient, we adapt. And this is a form of the, of a way in terms of how we can stay in touch with the youngsters, in terms of, doing some physical work still at home, and also, not thinking that, look, it's the pandemic, it's out there, and we can't work on our skills in the backyard. There's a lot of things that we can do, and that is why, at the end of the day, we have this webinar here so that we can, engage and make sure that we all on the same page. And when it gets to that time where cricket will be played again on the field, that we're ready to go. So today, what we're going to discuss today, my presentation is it's the first model. It's COVID-19 and how to become a ultimate sportsman. So why I've said ultimate sportsman, as you know, normally this time, we transition from the winter sport into the summer sport, which is cricket, right? And most of our kids, they play winter sport. So you can use this. That's why I said sportsman, or sportswoman as well. So you can actually use this in any sport that you play. And this is, like I said, today, it's that introduction model 1. We're not really going to talk much about cricket, but about sport in general. Our mindset, how we can go about doing small little things at home that can benefit us at a later stage with regards to cricket. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and present the presentation. Okay, so I just want, I'm sure everybody can see my presentation, okay? So like I say, it's COVID-19 become the ultimate sportsman, right? So we all know what COVID-19 or coronavirus has done, to the entire world today, right? Everyone on the panel this morning has, mentioned in terms of how it has affected us in our community, how it has affected the entire world, and how we need to now adapt to, the new norm, they would call, right? As you can see on the slide, just to give a slight indication, I mean, we all of us is aware in terms of how has the virus started, what it has done. It's something that we have never seen before in our lifetime. It's contagious, and it's obviously very deadly, right? And the entire world has been affected with regards to this deadly virus. So how it's been spread, as you can see in the picture there, whoever's City supporters, we don't see this now often. There's some live sports now on TV, but this type of things you won't see now as much with the little of live sport that we have seen on TV, right? Spitting and, maybe taking high fives in cricket and that type of thing. Because this is how it can spread, direct contact with the hands to the face, droplets spread from saliva within a 1 meter radius. So we all know what the virus is about. It's a deadly virus, and the entire world has been affected by it. And obviously it has been affected by it very strongly from a sporting perspective, in terms of normally this time coming to September, the kids that's at the Model C schools like Wynberg Boys, Bishops, Rondebosch, Sachs, you guys normally get ready to go and do some tours around the country in terms of preparation for preseason. Clubs like Primroses, Ottomans, United, Western Province Cricket Club, they normally, get also pre-season matches for the kids to get ready for the season. And like I said, it's unfortunate times now in terms of what we're going through with regards to sport and the virus, right? Mikhail mentioned that we probably will only be, physically active again, say, come January, For me, I think we might not even play cricket for the entire season. I heard through the grapevine, because we all know that, look, there's a lot that has been happening with cricket in South Africa. It's all over the media, Black Lives Movement, match fixing. When you open up social media, you will see all the stuff happening with cricket, and especially cricket in South Africa. So there's a lot of things that needs to be done, for the viewers that's out there that has maybe not been up to scratch in terms of what's happening out there in the media. Standard Bank has obviously, pulled their sponsorship from Cricket South Africa. Now that's one of the big sponsors there. So that Standard Bank normally, feeds from the hub system. So there's a big concern about that. Is there going to be a hub system going forward? We're all aware of the hubs, the hubs doing good work within the community, within the townships. That might fall away because there's no sponsors. The president, CEO from Cricket South Africa has resigned, and the same year at Western Province Cricket Association. So it's tough times, guys, right? And why I'm mentioning this is because I don't want, it's real, it's out there, but also I don't want us to get complacent as as a community, as a club, where we would think, okay, there's a whole lot of, things happening from top down, and we don't have to do anything about it. Let's wait on the club or on the school to say, okay, cricket starts in the next month from whenever, and then we want to get the ball rolling. So my next slide is about how has this impacted us as players and as coaches. And also, if the parents is online, parents as well, because you guys play a big role, especially with the viewers that's viewing this webinar, right? Remember, this is for the junior setup, right? So obviously when parents sit in on it, you guys play a big role, for bringing the kids to training facilities, taking them to the matches. So parents also play a big role in this setup. So if we look at our first image, right? And before I start with this, and I just want to mention this, this entire, I would say, webinar for the next 9 weeks going forward, right, is, as you know, every club, every school, have their own coaches out there, right? And every coach has a specific style in the way they coach, okay? So this is, just to give you an idea, this is the way we see it through not our private coaching eyes, okay? So for me, there's no wrong or right, okay? So I just want to make that, clear that obviously you have different coaches that would have different ways in coaching. And like I say, there's no wrong or right in terms of how things is going. So this is just coming from not out's point of view in terms of how we train our kids when we do one-on-one sessions or group sessions, and our style and method of training, if that makes sense, right? So going back to our first slide, our third slide and our first image, it says there, time to reflect, right? So I don't think that there has ever been a time, if you think about it, going back just say a couple of months ago when it was really hard lockdown, right? That 2 weeks and then it extended for another 2 weeks. It's almost been a hard lockdown, level 5, where you were just basically like locked down in your house, nothing that you can do. You can't go out. There was no walks. You can just go and do some, go and buy some groceries, and that was it, right? And, I've since then, I've been, watching a lot of webinars, a lot of Zoom sessions, a lot of Skype sessions, where international players would then be on these type of platforms. And I promise you 99% of them, right, they would say that this would be the best time to reflect. So why do we reflect? So we take this in terms of the cricket point of view or any sporting point of view. You have to reflect because it's important in terms of knowing where you want to go going forward, right? As you know, and I'm sure a lot of guys that's listening to me now know that somewhere along the line, a coach, parent, an educator, dealing with this game, you guys would have heard where a coach said that cricket, 90% is mental, right? And the other 10% is your physical part and whatever you need to do to do the physical things on the field. Now, I said not out, we believe this. And the kids that's online, can testament to this. Where we tell our kids that, look, yes, we agree 90% is mental, but the other 10% is also mental. So we're saying 100% of this game is mental. It's mental toughness. So when it comes to the physical part, yes, you have to be physically fit. Yes, if you want to play any sport, that contribution or that side of the game, you have, if you want to become a professional sportsman, you won't walk onto that field if you haven't passed a fitness test. You must be able to do, to give you an example, on a provincial level, you have to do level 16 on yo-yo. And that is pre-season, maybe 14, 15, but 16 when cricket season starts. Otherwise, you can't, they won't select you. You know, let alone with regards to transformation and quota system. And you have to be physically fit. And that is what we drive, right? That is what we tell. And I want to share with you guys online, where you have to be mentally prepared for this game. Very important. And that is where time to reflect comes in, right? So if you guys haven't done this before, right, I would say maybe start from today or start from Monday, you know, sit down, think about, and like I said, we know school, you guys have gone back to school, and every school has different, you know, ways. 1 week you on, 1 week you off, or every alternative day, but you have still a lot of time, you know, for yourself. So think about this, guys. If you're really, you know, serious about your sport, okay, and also if I have to pose this question to all our listeners and viewers out there today, and I said to the kids, who wants to play one day for the Cobras and for the Proteas? I'm sure 100% everybody would put up their hand, right? Now, that is a dream. But what do we need to do to make that dream a reality? So we need to set goals. So when you set goals, you have to have a plan in place, right? And that starts with this first image. You see the guy there sitting with the book and saying a whole lot of things. What am I feeling? I'm noticing this. What am I wondering? I'm seeing, I'm thinking, right? So maybe, you know, if you guys haven't done this before, and I'm, you know, talking especially with the little ones out there and the parents that's listening in with the little ones, you know, try to explain to them, you know, it's important to have, I used to have, when I played cricket, I used to call it the black book, you know, maybe it wasn't a good thing to call it as a black book, but it was a book that I kept, and I used to, you know, write down what I've done for, you know, every week, and that I've done throughout my junior level career, right? Where you keep a little journal there, and, you know, it starts there in terms of reflecting. So I would go back in terms of what I've done last year. So maybe I scored like 250s last year, and I would then, you know, reflect upon what I could have done better, what I have done better, and what I now need to do to go forward to change that 250s into maybe 450s for the season coming. So remember also, it's very important to set out realistic goals. So you can't say now from 250s, I want 1050s, you know. You got to have a realistic goal there. So when you say 450s, and at the end of the season you achieve 6, you obviously done extremely well. But set realistic goals, right? It's also important to understand, time to reflect, you know, what's your role in the team? And this is more, you know, alluded to the older players for Primrose. So looking at maybe from under 15 to under 19, right? Where you should know more or less what your role is within your team. We know in mini cricket and just going into hardball cricket, we like to give everybody a chance. So every week the batting lineup change and the bowling lineup change. And I firmly believe that is the right way. I know Primrose does that, and that is the right way. We want the younger generation, so I'm talking about our 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kids, to try to do everything. You know, the parents listening out there, if your kid wants to bowl 1 week spin and then the next week bowling fast and bat here, to bat left, bat right, throw left, throw right, let him do it. Okay, because that's the time where he learns, you know, so much. When he gets to 15, 17, 18 years old, that's a time where you really need to understand what you can do in the sport, right? And what your role is within the team. But when he's young, let him do everything. And also, I encourage the parents out there, let him play all different type of sports, because that can only be beneficial to him when he gets slightly older, you know, past the teenage age. So, you know, let him try all different type of sports. I know parents out there that, you know, stuff is expensive. You know, nowadays I see a lot of places playing golf. A lot of schools has introduced this game, and it's very expensive. You know, one club costs maybe 800-900 rand, you know, and you need about what, 12 clubs. I don't know, Zainu, I think Zainu plays golf. So it will come probably to 10 grand at the end of the day. And then all of a sudden, within a year or two, he said, Mom, Dad, I'm not interested in the sport. I want to play another sport. So if you by the means, I would encourage parents out there that, you know, let the younger kids, let them play as much sport as possible. Because like I say, that would benefit them. So that is what we want to do when we reflect. Sorry, I just want to close this. There we go. So that is what we, you know, what we want to do when we talk about reflection, right? Time to reflect. Sit down, think about what you have done last season. Think about the positives and negatives. And like I said, this is more, you know, from under 13 upwards, you know, that can sit down and write down in their books in terms of what they have done last season, which has been what, you know, a couple of months ago, right? So the memory, you know, should still be fresh there in terms of knowing what you guys have done a couple of months ago. So write all that down there, you know, and then reflect on your game. Think about, look, if you're an all-rounder, you should know that, okay, I actually need to work thrice as hard as a guy that maybe just bats in the team, or maybe is just a bowler. So the work ethic is more, it's more on you, and you need to have a little bit more time, because you need to look at batting, bowling, and there's obviously the third aspect of the game, which is fielding. And a lot of us, you know, we take that for granted, but that we would leave for our next, that is in the next couple of weeks, when I'll talk about that presentation or model in terms of the fielding aspect of the game. But that is what we need to do within that first slide. But let's reflect, think about the positives and negatives, write it down, and then set out goals in terms of whenever cricket would start going forward. And then you got to work towards that. You got to plan, right? Our second slide, our second image there says virtual online engagement. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I don't know about the panelists or whoever is watching them, but so wallahi, I'm Sumbaing. 6 months ago, I was not aware of Zoom, to be honest with you. I was not aware of Zoom and, you know, what this platform is about. And all of a sudden now, things has changed because of the pandemic, right? So now we're in a situation where we are engaging the way we're doing right now. Like I've said early on, I'm looking outside. It's such a fantastic day. And normally, you know, you will see me at the nets. Mr. Bauer mentioned that in his introduction there. We every day at the nets, right? But because of COVID, you know, we have to also look after our players at the end of the day. And at this moment, to give you an idea, and I'm just going off quickly off the point here in terms of our second image. So I just want to give you guys an idea. So at this moment, in terms of the directive that was sent to the Minister of Sport, right? Cricket South Africa came back to us as professional private coaches and Western Province Cricket Association. And about 2 weeks ago, I think, they have made it, or they have announced that private coaching is allowed now, or one-on-one coaching. Okay. So I don't know if Buffy is on this webinar this morning, but Buffy came to me yesterday. I was busy at the nets yesterday. And he came to me and he asked me, him and a couple other boys, asked me if I can train there. So I just want to put it out there, and maybe, you know, Noor or Zainul, I think you guys maybe just need to send out a message there to the Primrose family and the junior setup there, that at this moment, unfortunately, on my side, I can't make that calls. And it's so sad for me to say, Buffy, you're not allowed to do this. I don't want to. Whatever kid comes in there, it saddened me where I have to turn the kid back and say, you know what, you can't really practice, because remember, guys, it's all about protocols now and how we, you know, follow guidelines and rules from the government and with regard to the COVID. Okay, so that means the area needs to be disinfected first and foremost. Second thing is social distancing. Third thing is temperature need to be taken. Frequently sanitizing of hands. So that is the directive coming from CSA and WPCA to the professional one-on-one coaches, right? Which we do at NOTA, right? So every day I make sure I've got my high pressure machine there to disinfect the nets every session. So we do hour per hour sessions. So before every client comes, we disinfect, we take the temperature of the kid. I need to have a specific, how can I say, a log system there, journal, writing their temperatures down. If the temperature is more than 37.3 or 4, you're not allowed to train. You need to go and see a doctor. That kid, you know, can only come back to us after 40. So there's a whole procedure. And like I was saying, and I mentioned this to Buffy, and I said, if you're going to be online today, maybe you can, put that as a question in terms of posing to Primroses and asking if we can train or not. So maybe Primrose executive, you guys must maybe just come in there, because like I say, it's just heartbroken for me to turn a kid around and see them coming and wanting to train. But like I say, at this moment, it's only the professional one-on-one coaches that has the permission now from government down to CSA and WPCA that we allowed to do one-on-one sessions. And that's one-on-one sessions, right? So that's your coach and one kid, right? Not 7, 8, 20 kids on a field. So maybe Primrose must just make it very clear out there, because like I say, it's heartbroken for me if I need to turn the kid around and say you're not allowed to train at the nets. So just going back to my point here, virtual online engagement. So this is the new norm, like they would say. This is what we're doing currently now. Normally, like I said, you would find me at Rosmead and we, sweating out there, training, teaching the kids enjoying themselves, running around, hitting balls, and that is what cricket is actually about, practicing as much as possible as you can. But now we need to adapt. right? And this is now, like I say, the new norm in terms of training, or in terms of getting information in what we need to do to still being active, right? And that is doing these online sessions, right? And I know I'm still doing my private online sessions, and that is normally when it rains, when it's wet, we can't go to Rosmead, and we would then have the one-on-ones in engagement. I will then talk to, I will give you an example like a Carl Williams, for example. You know, we would have a lot of one-on-one sessions. I make him as an example because he's a kid that's in the pipeline, right? He's a Primrose member, and obviously he's a provincial player, right? So he's a kid that's in the pipeline. So we have these one-on-one engagements. And it's very important to have this one-on-one online sessions, because this is the time where you can talk about your game or the game itself. Do you understand your role in your team? And we chatted about last season, and he had a phenomenal last season, right? I think he probably scored over 700 runs, right, for his school, and that is all formats, right? The T20s, one-day games, and then the longer version of the game there, which is time cricket. He had, just before the break last year, the kid, he scored, to give you an idea, I think about 67, 78, 99, and then 105 not out. And out of that 5 innings, that's consecutive innings. Out of that 5 innings, 3 or 4, I think, was not out, right? And I'm just mentioning this because this is where you guys benefit, right? When we have this online sessions. Now, I struggled at the beginning when I actually, mentioned this to my clients and said, you know what? When it rains, that means we're not going to sit and do nothing. You're going to engage with coach, but we're going to do this online session, right? And then we're going to talk, and we're going to tap into that brain, and we're going to talk about, what do you know about this game, right? And you guys will be surprised that you have an under 13, under 14 kid that don't know, for example, a position where is square leg or where is deep square. You will look at you and say, coach, what are you talking about? Now, this is the type of education or educational things you can do via online. And this is the reason why I feel as a professional coach, it's necessary for us to have these online sessions. And it couldn't come at a better time. Because if you think about it, at Primroses, I'm going to mention this, right? And you can tell me if I'm wrong. At Primrose Cricket Club, at United, at Ottomans. So all our community clubs, if you think about it, when you go, let's forget about the pandemic for a second. So when you go on Friday afternoons, you go and train. I say supposedly you're going to go and train, right? So what do you do there on a Friday afternoon? For me, as a professional coach, if I look from the out in, you guys basically going there and go and say hello to your teammates and go and do social gathering. Because there is no way you can train for an hour and do everything, batting, bowling, fielding, doing a little bit of skill work, doing a little bit of tactical work. That might sound foreign to you, to the younger kids. What's tactical work, you know? But this is all things you need to do to become a good cricketer, let alone not a professional cricketer. But this is the things that we need to now understand what it takes to become a ultimate sportsman or sportswoman, right? So yes, we need to change our minds. And I'm saying this with the utmost respect to the panel that's here today. So let's maybe take stock and think about, like I said, we're just going back to slide image 1 there, where we talk about, let's reflect. So we need to, come up with a process going forward when the Minister of Sports say, you know what, guys, we're good to go in 2 months' time to play this beautiful game. We need to change our mindset here and say, you know what, somewhere along the line, Friday afternoons are not good enough. It's not enough for our youngsters to compete with the Weinberg boys, with the Bishops, with the Rondebosch. And again, I say this with the utmost respect, because we need to understand that it takes more than 1.5 hours to actually perform or compete out there when, you know, we play against these top schools. Because guess what? They actually train thrice a week, right? And they have a schedule, a roster in terms of how they go about it. So why can't we do that, right? Every time, you know, I mention things to clubs, to schools, and I say, listen, man, we need to get out of our comfort zone. And they look at me with big eyes. No, we love what we're doing in terms of our little bubble, our comfort zone. When you talk about change, we as community don't take change that well because we like comfort, right? So what I'm saying is we need to understand that we need to do so much more to become the ultimate sportsman. And that is why I'm saying this virtual online engagement is important. So, for example, if you have the you know, the privileges of having private coaches, or you have your coaches at Primroses that wants to do online sessions, that wants to do virtual sessions, that sends things through via WhatsApp and say, you know what, boys, you maybe have a coach that runs the under 11 team there or under 13 team at Primroses, and you guys now started a WhatsApp group and say, you know what, let's work up until December. This is how we're going to go about it. Let's start with some fitness, with some endurance work, some explosive work, some, lifting up weights, whatever the case may be. That is what then needs to, what you need to do at home. And like I say, you need a small space. Your room is more, it's good enough to, you know, to express yourself there at the end of the day and to do what your coach has given you. If we talk about the mental aspect and there's a Zoom session or a WhatsApp session, you know, and you have it 30 minutes, I promise you, and especially to the parents, it works. And I know for the guys that actually doing homeschooling, I know you've about 4 hours maybe online there, but give that coach a opportunity. Give that coach a chance to say, you know what, okay, I'm coming in maybe 3-4 hours after your school. So we'll do it maybe say 3-4 o'clock. You know, give him that hour and listen to him, because that is how you can learn from the game, you know, especially from the mental part of it. And if you look at the other image there where it says training at home, so that, you know, complements the virtual online session. As you can see there, I've got, well, almost like a family gathering there. We've got mom busy there with the 2 kids. So to the moms that's listening out there too, you know, it's in the comfort of your home. So, you know, switch on the TV, put the Zumba session on, Zumba or whatever it is that you guys have there, and go crazy, you know. Put on your favorite song or Kasida band, for example, and then, you know, do the movements. But it's important to be active. That's my message there in that last image there. We have to be active. And why do I say that we have to be active? Is because if you think about it, post-COVID, so we look 6 months before COVID, right? We've always been active as society. So you have a routine, right? You go and you wake up in the morning, right? You do your little bit of things you do in the morning. Everyone gets into the car, gets dropped off at school. The kids is active at school. Parents is active in the office. You walk up and down. You go out for lunch. You go out, get something to eat. You walk back again. Before you know it, if you have one of these fancy watches, right? That counts your steps and that type of things. See how many calories you have lost for the day and that type of things. If you look at that watch, and on a normal day, you know, post-COVID, you would see you've probably done about 7,000 steps. That's easily, what, 3.5 kilometers for the day. But what did we do now when it was hard lockdown and we couldn't go outside? Gives us a perfect example in terms of what, you know, a bear does in his environment, where you would go and hibernate. So he eat as much as possible during a specific period, and he's nice and fat and his belly is nice and full, and then he goes and get a log where he can sleep for 3-4 months without waking up. Imagine that, doing nothing, belly full of food, just sleeping there, hibernating, and then when the season is ready again, come out again and follow the same process. So what I'm saying is, let's be active, because we've always been active, right? So you can do these type of things. Walk around your house. Even now, there's no excuses. If you think about it. Now, we back at what's at level 2. So the restriction is so much, it's eased down. So we can go to Sea Point, right? Not to go and blow, not to go and blow, to go and stand there and, you know, blow with your friends. No. To go and do a nice walk, right? You can put your Nikes on and your tracksuit and whatever. Don't forget the mask though. And then have a little walk, you know, at the pavilion, right? Or take a nice jog or on the bike, right? But let's be active. And you can, like I said, the best thing to do this is do it with your family. Once I'm done here with my online sessions and I'm having lunch, then I'm going to do that exactly with my family. Take them out, take a nice walk, because it's important, right? You have to be active. So the next slide here, right, is a video, right? And I just hope this video is going to play properly, right? And I want to apologize beforehand if it's not. The sound might be good, but the video might be delayed, you know, a couple of seconds. But I want you guys to listen. So everyone knows Virat Kohli, right? So this video was taken 2018 in Adelaide. I'm sure most of you guys probably have seen this video. But I want you guys to see, he's probably number 1, number 2. For me, he's number 1, my opinion. But there's a debate between him at this moment and Steve Smith in terms of the best batsman in the world currently, right? If you look at stats. So this guy averaged in Test cricket over 50, well, in all formats over 50. And imagine you average in T20 cricket over 50. That's insane, right? But I want you to have a look at what Virat Kohli is doing on a normal practice day. But bear in mind, this is at Adelaide in Australia, when they played a couple of tests there. And look at what he's actually doing in terms of his training. You will see guys will come hard at him for the first 20 to 30 seconds of the video by pitching short. And as you know, in the southern hemisphere, like your South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, the pitches is quite, you know, juicy. So you're going to get a lot of balls that's going to come waist height and above. And look how this guy is practicing. And also, listen to the sound the bat meets ball at the end of the day. It's phenomenal. But have a look, have a listen to the video.
You. Yes, boy.
Right, so I still get goosebumps when I see this video, and I've probably watched it a million times, right? I just hope it played okay when you guys viewed it, right? So that's Virat Kohli, right? Like I said, one of the top batsmen in the world. And look at how he actually prepared himself for, you know, a test in the next couple of days, you know. If you see there, that first 20 seconds I'm talking about, you will see, and I'm going to give you some insight now, all right? So that's the Indian team. Do you guys know, there was, if you look at that 20 second, the first 20 seconds, there was one guy, well, actually there was two guys that was throwing the side arm, right? Do you know that in the Indian team, there is one guy, his job is just to throw the sidearm. Imagine that. That is his job. All he does is throw a sidearm to whatever batsman that wants a sidearm. So the guys out there like the Buffies, and I know you guys are quite good now at the sidearm, you can actually make a career out of this, you know, one of these days, even if you think about it. But this guy travels the world, and his job in that Indian team is to throw a sidearm, and to also, you've got to have some coaching knowledge, because if a Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma comes to you and say, look, what do you think about this and that, you got to get your facts right. But that is his job, by throwing just, you know, the sidearm. But if you look at Virat's preparation there, that comes to my next slide, and that is having a positive mindset, right? And if we talk about a positive mindset, the first point there is attitude of gratitude. So what do we mean about attitude of gratitude, right? So that means we need to be thankful for what we have at the end of the day, right? We have to be, we have to appreciate what we've got there. So again, you know, you have guys, like I say, where they, you know, they by the means of having a private coach, right? And that is how they would, you know, accelerate to the next level. And then you would have maybe a guy that, or a kid that would play cricket in the street. And that's where he would, you know, learn his game at the end of the day, right? Ultimately, we have to have that attitude, you know, of gratitude, by being thankful from where we're coming from and appreciate what we have. The second point there is acceptance, right? So we have to take, I'm going to say, the bad with the good, not the good with the bad, right? Because we tend to forget that we fail more than we succeed, especially in this game. So acceptance is important, right? How many times we have seen when we play cricket, irrespective, say from the age of 13 upwards, bowler bowls you the batter, bowler ball down leg, hits your pad way outside leg stump, maybe one guy appeals and the umpire gives you out. So yes, it's a bad decision, but the kid comes off the field throwing his equipment, which you as a parent spend about 2,500 to 4,000 rand, upset, and you know, we're not, we forget about that. Look, we fail more in this game then we succeed. So that's important. We need to understand, yes, you can be upset, right? But you don't need to throw your toys out of the cot there. So you need to understand that there will be good days and there will be bad days. When the bad days come though, then you need to accept it. So acceptance, you know, plays a big role. So that is with failure and with success. The next point there is looking forward to. So what does that mean? If you look again, this is based on Virat's video there. So if you look at looking forward to, you can see in Virat's video, you know, he's got all the energy, he's got all the, you know, his mindset is right. It's all about the positivity. He wants to do well. Because remember, what you do at practice or at training in terms of preparation, 99% of the time, that is what you would do out there in the middle. So you got to come with, you know, you got to look forward to training. Even though, you know, Mr. Bauer may be saying, right, Wednesdays there's training and we're going to do 45 minutes of, you know, fitness, and it's gonna be hard. You can't not say I don't want to go because I'm injured or I've got, you know, you come up with excuses. You gotta look forward to that session, because that is, like I say, it's gonna benefit you. If it's not then, maybe in the next couple of years. But that's the important part there. Looking forward to what? We're looking forward to training. We're looking forward to having meetings, these type of meetings. Looking forward to match days, you know, Friday nights, pack your bag already, pack your cricket clothing out, and we're looking forward to playing against our opposition for whoever it is, and we're looking forward to meeting our teammates on a Saturday afternoon. So that's important. Next point, energy, right? You got to have energy. That's important, you know. And we need to, as you can see in that nets, when Virat was batting, it's all about the energy. It's all about the positivity, you know. Even though he played a bad shot in that video, said, you know, it didn't go well. But what's important? The next ball is important. You can't, you know, change the ball that he has faced before. So you got to bring that energy, you know, within the game. That also plays a big role. Remember, cricket is a team game, so that plays a big role when you know, playing with your teammates. Bring that energy, and that will obviously, you know, rub off on the team as a whole. And then the last one, the point there is showing character. So that's important, you know. So you gotta deal with the difficult times. And when it's difficult, especially if I just give you an example, for example, when you train and you're working on a specific cricket shot, right? Or when you bowl, you're working maybe on your in-swinger, and you may be a guy that normally bowls way swingers, right? And it's just not working, right? And the coach tell you, listen, you just gotta, you know, you gotta persevere, you gotta, you know, concentrate in terms of what you need to do to get that, you know, way swinger or in swinger in. So you got to show character. You got to build that up. You can't go and say, you know, it's not working, I'm giving up. So you got to show that attitude that, you know, you're going to try your utmost best, give you 200%, you know. So even though in that difficult times, that's where that character comes out. So you got to show that character. And that's important, you know, in cricket, because remember, you always have these down times and going forward, the best times. But you got to show that character when it's not going your way, when that partnership is building. All of a sudden, the buzz is not there in the field, and somebody needs to lift it up. So somebody needs to show character and say, hey, come on, guys, we can break this partnership. And, you know, and that would filter the positivity within the team. Right. So this is one of my favorite videos, this next slide here, right? It says the motivational video, and it's Joe Root. So Joe Root, for the guys that don't know, he's the England captain, test captain, Also a guy, okay, he's been struggling now lately. As you know, there's live cricket on TV where England is playing against Pakistan. But also a guy that averages above 40, 40 and a half. I think that is what he's averaging now in Test cricket. And this is what he's got to say. So here again, like I said, I do apologize if there's slight hiccups there with the video, but the sound should be okay, right? But in this video, I really want you guys, and I'm sure most of you guys have seen this video, but in this video, I really want you guys to listen very, very carefully to the message Joe Root's got within this video. So listen very carefully, because this is hitting the nail on the head here in terms of what this first model or this presentation is about, all right? So I'm going to play it for you guys now.
Joe, it's going to hurt. Early mornings, late nights, 24/7, 365. Sacrifice upon sacrifice. Because there are no weekends in sport. No excuses. Every day is a chance to move forward. To overtake the enemy. But the enemy isn't India, Australia, South Africa or the West Indies. It's you. It's that voice telling you to press the snooze button. To be happy with 100 when you could have got more. Be remembered for something greater than how many followers you have. Lead by example. Run a little further. Lift a little heavier. Relish the pain. And always remember, the moment you think you've made it, you're finished.
Right. So again, like I say, a very motivational video there, right? And if you've seen there, this is that last point there, or that last second where it says, this is what he is all about, right? And like I say, I hope the sound was good there, because what was more important there was the message that he relays in terms of what he does on a day-to-day basis. Remember, this is all professional sports guys, right? This is guys that's highly ranked across the world, right? The Virat Kohli videos and the Joe Root videos. So the key points there of that video was point one there: early mornings, late nights, 24/7, 365. So that is your entire life there. If you want to become a professional cricketer, that is what Joe Root is saying, right? So I asked the question out there. So think about this. Does this guy really needs to say something like this? Do these guys that I would say we idolize, it's our heroes, right? Say things like this, right? Show you guys how they actually practice on a daily basis, right? They don't need to do that, in my opinion. They don't need to do that. They've got everything. They've got the ability. They've got the talent. They sports heroes. They know exactly their strength, their weaknesses. So why go the extra mile? You see, that is the important factor here. Early mornings, late night, 24/7, 365, right? And that is important because the message out there is, if we think that, look, a 20 minutes of fitness session or 20 minutes of just batting the ball and there is no, specific purpose behind that session, you're okay. No, you're not okay, right? We gotta teach our kids now going forward that we gotta do things, obviously, properly. We have to do it, in the right manner, right? So yes, that first one, there might be to the extreme to to our audience today, right? That is more on a professional level. But what I say is try to, you know, try to add these type of values within our daily system. So yes, what is important, you know, is our religion is important, first of all. Second thing is schoolwork, varsity, whatever the case may be. Then obviously your sport. But what I'm saying is don't forget about the sport, because that is the thing that would help you and assist you with the first two things. You know, you got to teach yourself the discipline. You got to teach yourself there in terms of I'm gonna put an hour aside after I've done all my other 2-3 things, which is more important, and then do something that I love, and then also, you know, add value to what I'm doing. You know, always make sure, you know, you don't have to have a private coach. You can check with your coaches that's at your club or at your school, or you guys know the search engines on social media nowadays. You know, if you even YouTube, all you need to do is, if you're opening batsman and you want to know, all right, what do I need to do in a situation where I want to bat for longer periods? You type in there, batting long periods as an opening batsman. You would have thousands of videos coming up there. And instead of playing Fortnite, instead of you guys playing Call of Duty, I know you guys are big on the game sector there. You know, take 10 minutes out, 20 minutes out, and do some research on how to bat for a longer period, right? And then try to, you know, try to do it in your backyard with your brother, with your friend, with your dad, with your mom. But at least you know, show that interest that you want to become a better sportsman. Second point is sacrifice upon sacrifice. That's big, that's huge, that's major. You know, somewhere along the line, this is obviously referred to more to the bigger elderly boys there, from under 13 or under 14 upwards to under 19. You have to sacrifice, guys. And girls, you have to sacrifice. Somewhere along the line, you got to say, I'm not going to be on my Xbox now for 4 hours. I'm actually going to be on my Xbox maybe just for 3 hours, and take that 1 hour that I normally would be on my Xbox, and then sacrifice that hour and go and ask my brother or my dad to throw a couple of balls or hit a couple of balls to me to catch. That is sacrifice. You have to sacrifice somewhere along the line. If you want to become a professional sportsman in whatever sport, you will hear this come up every time when you listen to professional players, irrespective if it's a racing driver, if it's a tennis player, a table tennis player, snooker player, a rugby player. They would say somewhere along the line, in terms of their journey to becoming a professional sportsman, that word would come up there. Sacrifice. Somewhere along the line, we have to sacrifice. Next point there, the enemy is you. That's another big statement there from Joe Root. So in the video he said, the enemy is not West Indies, it's not South Africa, it's not Australia, it's you. So what is he actually saying there? So don't, how many times have we seen this? Have we seen this? Right? I give you a perfect example. OCAF tournament. Let's talk about the OCAF tournament, right? That's most down the big stage for your youngsters, right? You know, there's big prizes out there. It's been viewed on Super Sport. So it's a fantastic, one of the biggest tournaments in South Africa. So we have an OCAF tournament, right? We have, okay, I'm not going to mention a name, but we have maybe a guy batting at number 3, T20 cricket. He then hit the ball. Let's use a batsman, for example. He hits the ball goes straight up in the air, and then he's out, and he comes off the field, and the coach wants to know, his parents wants to know, hey, what happened? What happened? No, I couldn't see the ball. the sun was in my eyes, or somebody was walking past a side screen, or I wasn't ready. I just looked up and the bowler was there, or excuses, right? So that is what we're talking about there. The enemy is you. That means you got to take stock. You got to say, hey, you got to stand up and say, that was a bad shot, right? That was a bad shot, bad judgment of error there. I need to make up in the next innings. But we tend to say, no, the enemy, or we blame the opposition. We blame the umpire. We blame the conditions. You know, our first team players, I don't know if there's first team players that's listening to this webinar. Our first team players, that is the main thing. You come into the dressing room asking, what's going on? No, the ball was nipping. It was a green top and the conditions. And you blaming and you saying the enemy is actually the opposition, right? So you got to look, you got to take stock, you got to look within yourself, and always remember the enemy is you at the end of the day. Enemy is you, where Joe Root was talking about the snooze button, right? Don't press the snooze button and sleep an extra 10 minutes. Yeah, no, wake up and go for that run. You know, you, the enemy, talks about, will you be happy by scoring 100 where you know you could have scored more? That's a major stake. That's huge. Imagine that. Even 100 to him is not good enough. So go and score 200. And when you score 200, go and score 300. Right? So we have to take stock here as players. Lead by example. Next point. Very important, especially for captains. We have to lead by example. Right? This doesn't mean you've shown there that, right, if you lead by example, you've got 5,000 followers on Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case may be. You think you're that guy. No, you're not. That doesn't mean anything. You got to lead by example on the field and off the field. That's important, right? Be humble. When you take a fifer, or when you score 50, 60 not out, be humble. Say thank you, say shukran. People applaud you for it. And enjoy that moment, right? And then forget about it again the next day, because you need to go and do the hard work again. You need to go and do it again. That's important. I always tell my kids, right, you come to me and say you scored 120 not out. I will say, okay, well done. But don't come to me with a smile on your face. I will say, go and do it again. And then when you do it again, I will tell you to do it again. You understand? So it doesn't stop there. So that is by leading by example. Don't look at your captain only by leading as an example. He should and he must lead as a person on the field and off the field, lead by example. But you as a player can do that as well. And this again, goes to the older players, the older viewers, where don't just expect your captain to tell you, hey, stand right. Walk in with the bowler. We don't know these things. We have boys I've seen, at club level, under 13, under 15, where you guys stand with your hands on your knees and you're standing at attacking fielding positions, in covers, in point. You stand with your hands on your knees, or with your hands behind your back, or scratching in your nose, So this is the things. Awareness, that's another model we would do, going later in our webinars. But lead by example. That's really important. And the last point there is big. This is major. Always remember, the moment you think you have made it, you finish. That's exactly what I said before. So the moment you think you scored a 50 and you want to brag about this, right? And let's be honest here, right? So I'm talking here to the audience, and I'm saying this with the utmost respect. You know what? I'm even guilty of this. You guys know. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I'm probably or on social media platform, I'm probably, the first guy to send that message out there. But coming back to our first slide where we said we need to take stock, we need to reflect, and I thought about this, and you said, you know what? This is actually good. We don't need to do this. But we all are guilty about this, especially our parents, right? So like I'm saying this with utmost respect. So I'm just gonna say that word again. Always remember that the moment you think you finish, the moment you think you've made it, you finish. Mommy, ask mommy. So the kid go and score 50, 60 not out, a winning batting performance there by, let's say, Mr. X, right? Before that kid scored that 50, mom and dad was sitting on the phone already posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook. Wow, my kid scored a 50. Wow, this and that and that. Like I say, I'm the first one to recognize it because I do that as well, right? So forget about these small little things, right? What we need to do, yes, I'm saying we have to be, you know, happy and glad and excited about, you know, our kids' achievements. But we need to encourage them and do it the right way. We have to say, you know what, my boy, well done, man. Excellent. You see what happens when you do the hard work. Hard work pays off at the end of the day. If it takes a couple of years or if it takes a couple of months, but let's tell them, let's remind them, be humble, you know, because at the end of the day, this game, if this makes sense in terms of what I'm saying, this game will take care of itself. All we need to do is follow the process and believe in the process, in the system, and then you will see that the game will take care of itself. You will go and score big 100. You will go and end off for the season with 50 wickets, right? That is the small achievements, the small goals. And then we must try to do it again. So no, never give up. Don't think you have made 150 or one, you have made it. No, not by any chance. You only made it until you retire from this game. And that might be when you start becoming a professional cricketer, had a good career in your professional setup, or it can become a good club cricketer. There's nothing wrong by that, guys. And remember, we all cannot play for our country because of skill, because of whatever the case may be. But we can dream, we can work towards that, right? And if we don't do that, don't give up. We can still contribute and become a good club cricketer. And on that stage, by giving back, you know, to the youngsters that's going through the ranks. So that is important in terms of understanding, you know, the key points of this video. And then the last slide here, just to bring everything together in terms of what this model and what we have spoken about this morning, right, is actually the picture that you see there, right? So we talk about restore, and there you see a lady with the energized battery on the back. So that's restore. We look at refresh, right, which is guys running through and trying to get to the end line there. And then we talk about the revive. Sorry, that's the second last slide. And then we talk about revive, right? So, and as you can see, it's a circle, right? It's a circle that represents us within the sport. So when I say sport, again, we talk about, you can use this in rugby, cricket, soccer, whatever, right? So every year, remember, every sporting code, you know, has his season, for example. There is now, obviously, you know, the cricket overlaps. So it's a professional, so it's throughout the year. But you would go with the circle, right, on a yearly basis. So when you look at the restore, first of all, you look at the restore, and if you look at the lady there at the starting line, so that means, right, we need to start, and this is a perfect example now in terms of what we need to do. So let's take a kid, for example, that has done absolutely nothing for the last 4 months. So there's nothing wrong by that, right? So if you want to start today or tomorrow, so we start here, that's a starting point, restore. So we need to start to re-establish. We need to, you know, we need to understand what do we want to do to move forward. So we need to take stock. right? So we need to re-establish ourselves. And that is with the, you know, what we are facing out there, the challenges today, like the pandemic. What do we need to do, right? We need to maybe still work in terms of cricket at home, right? We need to tell Daddy, you need to buy me 6 tennis balls. We need to practice at home. We need to work on our hand and eye coordination. We need to work on, if you're a wicket keeper, I need to catch balls, right? Like I said, there's thousands of videos on YouTube. Again, you don't need to have a private coach. You know, you can do it yourself. So, you know, starting from, for example, wicket keeping, you know, get a golf ball, throw it. You don't even need dad or mom, right? You just need a ball and yourself, and take the golf ball and then throw it against the hole and then get the movements right? Moving side to side, catching, getting the gather together, hands together, fingers pointing down, fingers pointing up. That is what we need to do. We need to re-establish ourselves. Then we move over to refresh, right? So we have to bring that energy now. So we restore, we reestablish. Now we have to bring that energy, right? We have to bring that energy back now into our system, because we need to say now, right, within 2-3 months, I know cricket season is going to start. So I need to, you know, be refreshed, right? I have to have new strength. I have to have energy now, right? To do what I want to do out there in terms of for the season, for example. And then the last one there, very nice one, revive. As you can see the picture there, we have a plant, right? So without light, without soil, you know, the plant's not going to grow, right? So we need things, basically, that's going to drive us to revive. So that is self-motivation. Parents listening out there, have a chat to your kids and talk about, you know, listen, you have to get back into the swing of things, right? If you want to become a good sportsman, you need to pull up your socks, right? You need to go and, you know, come to life. You have to bring things back together, and then that is where you're going to grow. And that's a circle that we talk about in terms of what we need to do with today's model, right? And then last slide, I just want to say thank you. So that was the last slide, sorry. So that I just want to say thank you in terms of allowing me to have, you know, given me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you guys in terms of how we go about starting, you know, this webinar going forward for the next couple of weeks. I hope it was beneficial to the listeners and viewers out there. Like I say, obviously there will be very much more interesting things going forward, but we had to, you know, I had to do a presentation like this in terms of taking stock where we at and where we want to go, right? So we will talk about, I know you guys like the gritty things, you know, nitty-gritty things where we talk about batting, bowling, you know, getting a little bit more active there, bowling, way swingers, in swingers, wicket keeping. We will get to that, right? But we can only get there if we attempt in terms of doing something in getting back into the swing of things. And like I say, we can do these things when we're at home. And most cases, you don't really need daddy and mommy or brother. You can do it by yourself. Like I say, there's a lot of, you know, videos out there on YouTube. You guys can go and have a look at it. I am actively busy now at this moment as a professional coach. So yes, I do private coaches. So whoever's, you know, listening, if you want, you know, your kids to come out and hit a couple of balls or bowl, or looking for professional coaching, my details on social media there, on all platforms. You guys can just type in Not Out Private Cricket Coaching. It's on Instagram and on Facebook. All my details is there. And yes, shukran, thank you. And our brand. If you want to know what we do, what we go about, our slogan, here you go. It's all about consistency is key. And what we want to do is we want to build brilliance. Shukran, and I thank you.
We say thank you to Coach Sadiq for that very enlightening presentation on the basically laying the foundation for this modules going forward. Just in conclusion and in summary, in order to achieve anything in life, in particular, in order to achieve in your sporting dedication, it reminds me of my late father. He was the fastest 100-meter and 200-meter sprinter in Africa at the time. And he would always teach his students or his athletes that number one, you need to dream. And you need to dream of what you want in life. After you've dreamt it, you need to have the desire to achieve it. Then you need to have the determination to work hard in order to succeed that desire and that dream. And then you need the dedication to continue to persevere and ultimately to achieve your objectives and your goals. So from a young aspirant sportsman, this is what you need to take heed of. These are the type of life lessons that you need to have as a basis and a background moving in to dedicating yourself to the sport. Hopefully, as Coach Sadiq said, from next week, we will go into more interactive sessions with you guys. We will allow you to engage with the coach, to ask the questions, and have him respond to you. And take the next week, ponder on what he has thought about, at least think about what he has spoken about, and try to implement at least something in this following week. Once we've got the information, you need to do something with the information. So Coach Sadiq has spoken to you about the training, doing something, even throwing the ball against the wall while you're watching TV, right? At the end of the day, it's up to you. Whatever the mind can conceive, the mind can achieve. If you want to be the best cricketer, it takes dedication, perseverance, and commitment to the game. So if you were training once a week, start by adding an extra day until our next session for next week. If you didn't do anything, try to do something, even just a little bit, in order to get those muscles working again and back into, playing with the ball. At the end of the day, they've always taught us that as a cricketer, you need hand-eye coordination. And that starts with you watching television and just popping the ball up and down from one hand to the next. Try to do something, and hopefully this beautiful Sunday afternoon, as Coach said, you can go out to take a walk in your area, take a walk on the promenade, and enjoy the day. And hopefully we'll see you back next week at about 10 o'clock. Thank you very much.